Welcome back to Blaster Master Zero 2. We defeated the mountain boss in not Japan zone, I guess. Let's talk to him again. Sprite artwork.
I mean, apart from...
Long time no see. I just saw you like 2 days ago.
I mean, apart from the bamboo, I don't really think this planet has any particular, like, leaning toward a part of the world.
Well, no, he uses it's the way he's dressed, and he uses certain words like.
What do you mean? It's the way he's dressed. He's dressed in fantasy nonsense clothes. Oh wait, there's like 2% samurai armor in there. I'm sorry.
The music also has a Japanese-ish sort of sound to it.
No, I can't hear the music, so I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, also each character will have a side quest where you have to defeat the main kind of boss of the area.
Yeah, what do you get from it again? I remember it's decent.
Doing all their side quests gets you the best ending.
Oh, that's right, okay. I thought that they gave you something after you did each one.
I mean, they might give you something, I'm not entirely sure, but... It's one of those, the previous game you had to get every item to get the best ending. This game, you just have to do, like, the side quest for each major character you meet.
Yeah, I think that's better, because the annoying thing about having to find everything is, you know, where's that last thingamahoosit, you know? Whereas it's pretty sensible to think that if you talk to the characters again, you might get something or learn something or whatever. So yeah. It's an easier kind of goal to achieve. Do you get anything in this for 100%?
A better chip, I guess.
A better chip? Okay.
A better
Oh, yeah,
what?
I remember. You have to find this guy's lunch.
A better what?
Oh, no, his coins. A better ship.
Oh. That doesn't sound
it's a
all
coin.
that.
I thought he was talking about lunch at one point, though.
Well, I think he needs the money to get lunch.
Money
like
for
that.
what? There's no stores here. Everything's mutanted.
I assume getting the best ending means saving your robot gal pal.
Yes.
Okay.
Who's dead? And why were you teabagging their grave?
I don't know. I recorded this like a year and a half ago.
It looked more like you were like bowing to it, saying you're not worthy.
I don't know. That's just the first thing I always think of whenever people crouch like that. You're doing that, or you're like frustrated at whatever's going on, so you're crouching a whole bunch.
Or if it's an auto scroll, you're dancing to the music.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
sometimes I attack to the music too, though.
Well, I mean, but the crouch animation when you're out of the tank looks like you're going completely prone, so it does look more like bowing and saying we're not worthy, we're not worthy. That old meme.
Well, that's not a meme. That's just a joke from Wayne's World.
Yeah, it's a joke from Wayne's World that became a meme.
Do jokes exist anymore? Is everything just a meme?
It is when you repeat it over and over on the internet and it's a pop culture reference. That's basically what 90% of all memes are. So basically,
2-year-olds are the biggest memers on the planet because all they'll do is repeat what they hear on TV over and over and over again.
Yeah, more or less.
Curse you, Metal Gear Solid 2.
Why does that have any... Oh, right, because, like...
The memes.
But
the memes, Jack, the memes.
Wasn't that because, like, if you, like, think something too much or it's on the internet too much, it becomes real? Or
no, the point of the whole memes are bad and will hurt people, or not people, humanity overall, is that memes are inherently kind of just junk data.
Wasn't memes the revengeance thing, though?
No, there was memes mentioned in Solid 2.
I don't remember.
I don't think, like, did the word meme exist back in 2003?
It's from the 70s.
Wait, there were memes in the 70s?
No, it's a biological term that was kind of transformed as pop culture things took over.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, but so basically...
There's your history lesson with BSC.
So basically, what Metal Gear tells us is that your distracted boyfriend comic is going to end up getting you brainwashed by the Lali
Well,
Low.
It's more so the point was, if you saturate everyone with so much junk data, they won't really be paying attention or care about the actual important things.
You know,
Prophetic.
The thing that makes the least sense about all of Metal Gear Solid's story is how whenever you try to mention the Patriots, you just come up with the same gibberish phrase over and over every time, but it's always the same phrase, so you always know when they're talking about it. So it might as well just be a second name for the same thing. What's the point of trying to stop?
That's like the Voldemort problem, actually.
No, it's like no, because the Voldemort problem was them like being afraid to say the name. That's different. In Metal Gear Solid, basically, what is it? Nanomachines will stop you from speaking the name of the Patriots, and it always makes you say instead "Lale Lule Lo," but you're always saying that, so it might as well just be another word for the same thing. So it doesn't actually stop people from talking about it or recognizing that people are talking about it. So what's the point of?
Well, that's the same thing in Harry Potter too, though. It's just like, he who must not be named is just another name.
Well,
for Voldemort.
yeah, but nobody's actually like stopping people from talking about it. It's just in that case, it's just an acknowledgement of how afraid they are to say his name, which
never made sense to me. It's like, it's one guy.
Well, yeah, I know, but like, you know, wizards, they're when magic enters the fray, it gets a little complicated. Like, you can imagine someone being afraid of one guy if he got powerful enough. Okay, I understand that, but like in Metal Gear Solid, the purpose of them scrambling your ability to talk about it should be to scramble your ability to tell other people about it, you know? But it never achieves that, so what was the point?
Do you think the nanomachines like stop you from writing the word Patriots too? Like, if you get out a chalkboard and so it doesn't.
So
I think it's one of those. I think it can understand it. The machines can understand the context in which you're trying to do stuff.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like, if it only kicks in when you're trying to talk about those specific Patriots, then why? That just makes it worse.
I can imagine now everyone on like Sports Center during football season is like the Lalilulilos of New England.
Yeah, it's just they're in the middle of some sort of sports programming when this first goes into effect, and just like, I don't know, do you think that the Browns have a chance against the Patriots this weekend? It's like, no, the Lalilulilos really have been doing really great. What? What did you just say? Oh, you know, the Lalilulilos. What are you talking about? That's not the name of the team. They're the Lalilulilos. Wait. What? And then sports broadcasting is just really confused for the next 6 weeks. But then they go back to complaining about how, like, I don't know, people aren't, like, standing up for the national anthem, and then everything goes back to normal and they don't care. I forgot how short some of those stages were. Wow.
They're like one room little challenge areas.
Yeah, I forgot how short some of them were.
It's I just never really understood that particular point in the writing. It's like the one place where I don't really understand the Patriots.
So I understand the idea, because the idea that they're so powerful that they can control literally what you say is imposing and scary. And like goes to show corruption and whatever. Like, okay, that works. But, you know, in typical Metal Gear fashion, a good idea is kind of made questionable by being Metal Gear, effectively. You know, I don't think anybody would ever deny that Metal Gear Solid has a lot of interesting and resonant political stuff going on. It's just that nobody often talks about that stuff because they're too busy talking about how Otacon pisses his pants. Maybe Ocelot pissed his pants. I don't know. It could have happened. Or how, like, the guy who craps himself has an ancestor who also craps himself. Or that
And then gets with Meryl somehow.
yeah, or that how like that one boss can tell that you've played other Konami games or whatever. It's like maybe it's just that we're nerds and we don't care about resident political discussion. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it was either way.
Well, I mean,
actually.
like, Metal Gear Solid 2 was good and weirdly prophetic, but there's always going to be a part of me that's slightly bitter that Deus Ex got passed over for being better at that.
Which Deus Ex, the old ones?
The
or
one
new
that's
ones?
just called Deus Ex.
Okay. I've never played that. I know that a lot of people like the first Deus Ex, and that there's a lot of like not controversy necessarily, but there's a lot of division between what people think of the new ones.
I don't blame people for passing over the original Deus Ex, really. Like, it's great, but it also exists in that awkward period of time for PC gaming where both the controls and the graphics were in an awkward in-between place where they weren't quite graceful enough to really appeal to the mainstream.
That game came out like 98, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, that's kind of weird in that depending on your PC build, it could look anywhere from significantly, depending on the game and your PC, the games could look significantly better than anything that was on consoles at the time, or way, way worse. It just really depended on a bunch of different things.
A lot of PC games were intentionally built to not be as graphically impressive as consoles games because gaming PCs around that time weren't really up to par with consoles. Consoles were the dedicated gaming machines, and they had the dedicated gaming hardware. But
yeah, I don't think most people even had gaming PCs. I don't really think became a thing until like the 2000s. Like, I mean, I'm sure there were people who had them in the 90s, obviously, but for most people, I think that if you had a gaming computer, it was a console, and your PC was for taxes and boring crap.
The problematic thing about gaming PCs around that time is because we hadn't really standardized gaming hardware for PCs at the time yet. So if you tried to have a gaming PC, you'd have a choice between a bunch of these specialized graphics cards, and there was no guarantee that those specialized graphics cards would support the game you wanted to play. So
yeah, I also know that was a big thing about the sound as well, because not all of the sound cards worked with certain games, and some of them only had specific compatibilities. So your game could sound like fart noises if you had the wrong
sound cards were more of an older thing when games were using less real, like, genuine audio files and more sequenced noises and stuff. But
oh yeah, that's true. By the time the late 90s came around, they were doing more voice acting MP3 type stuff.
Yeah, more dedicated audio files that you didn't have to worry so much about. So yeah, but it just... So, I guess the games that wanted to compromise and be accessible to everyone just had more middling graphical performance in general.
Yeah, I think you see that a lot in games that are intended to have a wider demographic. Like, the first thing that I think of right now is Roller Coaster Tycoon, which came out in, like, 2000 and probably could be run on a Windows 95 PC or whatnot, because that's not meant to be a graphically intense game. It's meant to be like something that anybody can play, you know? Versus it was more like first person shooters, I think, were really one of the big things on PC that ended up trying to push hardware specs like
well, it makes sense because they're like the one genre that the PC is like functionally better for. But
that and RTSs, yeah.
RTS and simulation, I would say, too.
Well, yeah, I like, okay, RTS I'll give you, but I don't immediately think of RTS because it is a genre that I find intensely boring. So,
I mean, I can't blame you for that. It's very, like...
Very specific.
Taste specific, you know, like... you have to be really into, like, optimizing stuff and...
I don't particularly
I
don't particularly like playing games where half the game is me telling the game to do a thing and then waiting for it to happen, but you know.
Ugh, don't get me started on Brutal Legend as a result of that.
Oh yeah, Brutal Legend was the
that was one of the most bullshit bait and switch games I've ever seen.
Because that's the one with Jack Black voicing the dude,
it's
right?
it's the death metal, game voiced by Jack Black, where all the advertising was, the main character with this literal axe guitar thing beating up people, and you think it's going to be a fun action adventure beat 'em up sort of thing, and no, it's like 90% an RTS.
Why though?
I kind of feel like my personal dislike of RTS games is like functionally the same thing as a lot of people complaining about turn-based RPGs for not being fun though. So I try to give the genre a little slack. It's just my own taste.
If you like it, you like it. It's just not my thing.
It's important to acknowledge your taste, like I'm not really like I don't think I'll ever be good at fighting games or like super love them, So, but I also try to acknowledge that and say that this is just not my genre, and so I don't try to speak on it as if I know any better.
I like fighting games well enough. I just don't have the patience to sit in training mode for 6 hours to get a character down. I'm sorry. Let's see. Torch bomb. Okay, what are we doing here?
We were just picking up
extra stuff.
Extra.
Wait, it was a mini boss on that planetoid? Huh.
Yeah, most of the planetoids have mini bosses on them. They're either like a mini boss or a small platforming challenge, or both.
Okay.
Yep. All right. We'll see you all in the next part of Blaster Master 02.